we as a company, we actually started as a digital marketing agency, right? And we were doing web builds. We had an ad hoc collection of retainer clients, and we went through this phase of growth. And we got to this spot where if we added one more client, our margins started to erode, right? And so we really had to, make a choice, right? Is like we had a scaling problem, and we're faced with a choice, like most businesses. Do we right size? In other words, this is how big we need to be right now, and focus our efforts on improving margins, or do we solve the profitable growth problem and continue growth and improve margins, et cetera? And so for our choice was not the first, because we felt we didn't want to get into this scenario where we're nickel and diming our clients and this type of stuff, right? We wanted to grow with our clients. So we chose the second path. And there's lots of different strategies to solve this. The strategy we chose was to become vertically focused, right? And the thinking we had is that if we focus on a vertical, we would become really good at that vertical, so good that even if the companies in that space had their own marketing departments, they'd be envious of our results because we're marketing to a whole bunch of companies in that space, right? And we'd understand the problems of the vertical, come up with solutions for that vertical, et cetera. So it was a hard choice to do this. Why? Because if you truly become vertically focused, it's really you're saying no to the wrong money while you wait for the right money, right?
Sure.
And but the payoff was high, so we did it, and it actually broke us through that next level of growth, right? Is all of a sudden we start growing again, our margins are not being eroded. But what happened was we're not getting the economies of scale that we felt we should be getting, right? As again, it was a case that we looked at our business. There's very talented people spending 3 days a month going screenshot, copy paste, doing reporting, administrivia, just labor. And really, the idea here is we felt that the money was in the creativity. So really, we had to find a solution to this, and we felt that the solution to solve our profitable growth problem was to automate. And when I say automation, I am not explicitly stating marketing automation. I'm just talking about automation as a concept. And automation doesn't actually have its roots in sales and marketing. It actually has its roots in manufacturing, right? And the whole automating and manufacturing transformed the role of people in the process, from laborers to information workers, from brawn to brains, right? And we looked at our business and, with this concept of labor, and nobody was coming to our company, our agency, to buy labor, right? They were coming to buy results. Yet everything we were doing as an agency was so labor intensive that we as a company had to be focused on billable rates, utilization, all of this labor focused stuff, right? So there's a disconnect from how we were operating as a business and how our clients were actually purchasing stuff. So we had to find a way to get the labor out of the story. And that's really what this automation concept is about. So we as an agency, we were using tools, right? And we collected tools, and we're proficient at the tools. That's really what an agency is about, is using tools better than the clients, right? Sure. And the tool set we aggregated was not really done out of a not done through strategic intent. It was more happenstance, right? Oh, this client has this tool, we learn it, use it, we'll keep using it. We hire somebody, they're really good at this tool and they're an advocate for it, so now we have that tool. And we end up in a situation that looks like this. This is pretty much how we were operating as an agency. And we looked at this picture from the perspective of marketing for one client, never mind a large fleet of clients. And we said, what's wrong with this picture? And it's not the software. The software is all good. It was really is what was missing. And what was missing in this picture was the prospect. Little pieces of the prospect were spread out amongst all the different tools, so it became very difficult for us as marketers to understand what was working and what was not. And this is an important part. More important than understanding is branding that which works, right? Because it's very easy to deliver value as an agency because all of our clients don't know marketing. What's extremely difficult is demonstrating the value we're delivering as an agency to our clients. And we had this mantra, what we called brand the win. Anytime our clients got any value from our services, we wanted to ensure that they saw our brand the instant they got the value. And with this model, it was extremely hard to achieve that. And then from and there's no visibility into the buyer journey, right? There's a buyer journey there, but at best we could get from an attribution perspective was last touch, right? And our whole business was centered around accelerating buyer journeys. And then from an operations perspective, trying to scale this across a fleet of clients, you can see why we were losing sleep over billable rates, utilization, and all the labor. It's a very labor-intensive process. Sure. So what we did is we started writing software, and we wrote software in-house as infrastructure for us as an operating agency to solve two problems. Problem number one, capture the buyer journey. So from first touch on the website all the way through to purchase, cross-sell, upsell, and if we did our job right, brand advocacy. If we could capture this journey, we could intelligently use tools to accelerate it. So we built out this tracking system that is borderline creepy, right? Is really about tracking everything the prospects are doing. And we use this as the foundation for our infrastructure. Now that we have this tracking system, we could start building tools to accelerate the journey. So we built out a full social engagement stack, a full email marketing stack. We were spending a ton of time, money, labor, effort building landing pages as part of our process. So we needed a solution for us to be able to rapidly build, deploy, and reuse landing pages. So we built it into the infrastructure. A big part of our sales process for ourselves to meet new clients, as well as part of the process of helping our clients succeed, involved appointments like we're having here today. So we built out a full appointment scheduling system, surveys, reporting, very, very important, and definitely in the story of removing labor from the equation is we needed a powerful automation system and workflow engine. So we built it. And the hottest lead we could ever generate for one of our clients is if we could get their prospects to phone them. And if that phone call happened and we couldn't make a connection between our marketing effort and that strong buying signal, there was one gap in attribution, but more importantly, a lost opportunity to brand that win. So we built out a full call tracking stack as well. And the second problem we were trying to solve with this infrastructure was the reuse of labor across a fleet of clients. So because we were vertically focused, if we brought on a new client, chances are they're very similar to the rest of the clients that we're working with, right? So sure. Why does it take us 2 months to get this client up and running, right? And all that labor to get that client up and running is of zero value to the client, right? And we can kid ourselves and say they're getting value. They're not. They're paying for results. So we had two options. Option one is when we sign the client, tell them we're not going to charge you until we're ready here, till we can start producing results. It's going to take a couple of months. We're just getting dressed here. Yeah, nobody does that. So option two is we'd start charging them, and they pay in anger while they wait for the results, right? We wanted the ability to literally onboard a new client in 30 minutes, start delivering results the same day we signed with them. And so we built that into the infrastructure. And even though we were vertically focused, we were always learning, right? Because every business has their unique challenges. We'd come up with solutions for them. And if we came up with a solution, if we looked at our other clients, chances are they had the same problem as this client. So we needed a way to rapidly deploy recipes that work across an entire fleet of clients. So again, we built that into the infrastructure. And we felt if we could get our clients to engage with the results on their own time and see our brand, right? It would keep the connection between what we're doing and the value they're getting from our efforts. So we built out a dashboard tool that allowed us to custom build constituent specific dashboards that would hopefully entice them to log in, engage with the results, and of course see our brand. So it was a bit of a story here, and I can summarize it as that we purpose built an infrastructure for us as an operating agency to help us grow profitably by abstracting the labor out of the story, being able to rapidly onboard clients, reuse labor, deliver value, and most important is demonstrate the value we are delivering to our clients. So we're no longer an agency. We pivoted some time ago, and now we're a software company, and our hyper focus is helping agencies around the world scale their retainer businesses by providing them with an infrastructure that allows them to abstract the labor out of the equation, allow them to rapidly onboard clients, reuse labor, deliver value, and most importantly, demonstrate the value they're delivering to their clients. So the story I told you, does it resonate in any way with your experience operating your agency?
Yes, it does. I mean, who wouldn't resonate with, right? If you've been in this industry at all. We do find, I signed a new client right before we had this meeting, and I know that I have an hour's worth of work inputting everything, getting everything set up, and then giving it to my team for them to start working on it. And just like you said, they're not getting any results right now. But, I have to, that's one of the hard conversations that you have with a client is saying, all right, don't expect nothing for at least 30 days, right? You can see what we're doing on the back end, and I'm giving you this dashboard to look at, but there's not going to be nothing for you to see for at least 30 days. This is why, and explaining that, through the conversation, which makes it tough. I do have a question, just out of curiosity. What niche were you guys in?
We actually focused on two of them, and the big one was industrial automation, manufacturing. It was the industrial vertical, and 80% of our revenue came from that space. And I'll talk about the second vertical later in the presentation. But yeah, it was actually two, but definitely the industrial one was a great vertical for us.
Good.
So now what I'll do is I'll spend a little bit of time showing you how we use our software to drive demand. Instead of me just jumping into the tools, I'll give you some insights into the capabilities through the use of the tech, if that's okay.
Sure.
So our demand gen strategy when we were an agency was actually very simple, and the strategy hasn't changed to this day. The tactics clearly have evolved, right? As things change, buying habits, the whole COVID thing threw a big wrench in everything for everybody. But fundamentally, the strategy hasn't changed. And the strategy, I can summarize it as get someone to a web asset, remove their anonymity as quickly as possible. Why? Well, if I can get them to any web asset, our technology is going to track everything that the prospects are doing. We will get full attribution on every touch point, hence our tracking system. But the reality is that if that person's anonymous, we're actually not involved in the buyer journey. We may think we are, but we're not. At best, we're observers from afar, hoping. At worst, we have no visibility. A little bit better than worse, we are statisticians in Google Analytics and Google AdWords. And the reality is, these people on my website, these people are not stats. These are real people who have challenges that they're trying to solve, right? But the reality is, if they are anonymous, we are in no position to help them with whatever challenge they have. So the sooner we can make the connection between contact information and journey data, the sooner we're actually involved in this journey. Technically, one way we make that connection between contact information and journey data is if we can get that person to fill out a form. Right? So if they fill out a form, it's a case that, everything, like if we look at your journey here, is, you come in, it's a case that you're looking at different things on our website, right? We don't know who you are, but eventually what happens is you fill out a form, right? And once you fill out a form, everything that you've done in the past, well, this is a partial form fill, but everything you've done in the past is now associated to you, and anything you do in the future with that device, we now know about. That device is literally ours. So one way is with the form fill. There's several other ways as well. So ourselves, we do a lot of content. We have about 3,000 pages of content on the website. We'll use social media to disseminate the content. We do a ton of paid advertising, a lot of online events like webinars. But arguably the one strategy that's always paid the bills for us has been account-based marketing. Why? Well, when we were an agency, we knew which companies we were uniquely positioned to help. So instead of spending time, effort, and money trying to convince those that we did not have a unique proposition for, right? We put all of our effort into those companies that we do have a unique proposition for. But no matter what we're doing, it was always the same. Go to my website, please give up your anonymity. One of the things we did on our agency site to drive conversions, and it was a simple change that had a huge impact, it was how we managed our top nav. So on our agency site, we used to have this part of the top nav reserved for a contact us link, right? And what we did to drive conversions on the agency site was we took that link and we buried it, and we replaced it with a schedule a consultation. Our conversion rate on our agency site went up by 530%. Now, wow. Why did it work? Well, I argue it worked because people detest filling out forms, right? And we as marketers are constantly trying to get people to fill out forms, but people hate them, right? And the reason they hate them, the reason I hate them is, let's say I go to somebody's website. I'm not going there for fun. I'm going there because I have a problem I'm trying to solve. Now, if I look at the website, oh, these guys can help me. Now, if the way that I have to engage with these people is through a contact us form or something like that, I'll fill it out, right? And I'll fill it out in anger. Why? Because when I hit submit, my problem doesn't go away. The first thing I'm wondering is when, if ever, are these yahoos going to get back to me? Everybody on the planet's waiting for a response to some form they filled out. But at least our inbox fills with spam, right? So there's this anxiety everybody feels with forms. Now, this is a form too, but it actually is it's different because it shifts the balance. We offer something of high value, which is a time slot. And if I give this time slot, boy, people will tell me their life story. They will put more information in this form than they've ever given anybody before. And they will do it truthfully. Why? Because they have a problem they're trying to solve and they want to use their time wisely, right? So we did not invent appointment scheduling. There's lots of vendors doing it. The one brand that comes to mind when I think about appointment scheduling is probably Calendly, right? The problem with all of them, though, it's actually this form. This form is always technically in an iframe, right? Or this is on, for example, Calendly's site. The problem's the same, is that that form, when it's submitted, it happens on some other domain. And we know about cross-domain tracking is a no-no. So yes, we get the form fill, but we don't get the benefit of it. That prospect leaves with their anonymity intact. So the magic here is not appointment scheduling. The magic here is actually our forms. Our forms are all raw HTML, and we are completely CMS agnostic. And what's true with all of our forms, even the simplest ones, is if anybody puts any information on this form, even if they do not click submit, we scrape everything they put on the form, put it together the web session, just like when you fill out the form and walked away, we still get the data and it'll put it together web session. We often get anonymity on abandoned forms. Do you follow that?
I do.
Am I using your time wisely? Is this okay?
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great. I'm learning.
So another way we make that connection. So again, if we look at these, these people on my website, one second here. If we look at these people on my website, what's interesting is, I might have this person's contact information in my CRM right now, right? But it's doing me no good. This person's on the website right now, thinking about dynamic content. They have a problem they're trying to solve, and we're in no position to help them because they're anonymous. So how we maintain the connection between contact information that we have and their web presence on our website is we send them emails. So no matter how an email leaves this company, whether it's a sales email, marketing email, even invoices, our technology will automatically encode every single link in every email. So if somebody clicks any link in any email that comes from our company, our technology knows it gave that link to that contact. Again, everything they've done with that device in the past, we now know about. Anything they do in the future with that device, we know that device is ours. And finally, the hottest lead of all, which is the phone call. We get a lot of phone calls. We have a full call tracking platform. So this phone number, if somebody phones it phones our tech stack. Our tech stack routes it to one of our sales folks based on context and country. But what we're after is that journey. So what our technology will do is intelligently inject a unique phone number into each concurrent session. Therefore, the people on the website, they will see different numbers in their browser than you're seeing here on the screen. And if they call the number that they see in the browser, our technology knows it gave that number to their browser. Again, anything they've done with that device in the past, we know about. That device is ours going into the future as well. Now, the last thing I'll talk about is really the biggest challenge we all face as marketers. It doesn't matter what the product or service is that we're selling. We're always faced with engaging with different buyer personas. And for us, it's not just different buyer personas, it's actually different industries too. And we're going to try everything we can do to engage with this audience and get them to our web assets. We use different marketing channels, different marketing messages, different strategies, and with certainty, there is going to be more than one touch point. There's going to be a journey. The problem is we only have one website. So we are forced to make choices with that website that involve significant trade-offs. So one choice is to find the one buyer persona that pays the bills, right? And bring that buyer persona to the website. So for us, when we were an agency, like I mentioned, the one buyer persona that paid the bills was industrial automation. 80% of our revenue came from the manufacturing sector, right? It was great consulting fees, fantastic retainer fees, content, lots of stuff. It was really nice. So it's very easy to make the conclusion that let's get that buyer persona to the website, right? Put pictures of people in safety glasses, manufacturing equipment, HMIs, use the vernacular of the space all over the website. And if we can get the next prospect to that website, the messaging is going to resonate. Like, you get me, right? The conversion rates are going to be fantastic. But by design, we're alienating everybody else, right? Somebody from, let's say, finance comes to our website. They're going to bounce before the page paints because they don't want to see heavy equipment. They want to see suits, right? By design. And we actually did good business in finance too. So option number 2, don't commit on the buyer persona. Make it generic, right? Just use, generic messaging, maybe some industry jargon, click-through rates, this type of stuff. And, have an industries we serve link up the top and a scrolling list of our big happy clients along the bottom. Now, the only buyer persona that's going to resonate with is our competition, but at least we're not offending anybody. And the conversion rates are clearly not going to be anything like the previous example. So people have been taking one of these two strategies with their web assets for the past 20 years. So what we did differently, and we still do differently with our technology, is we dynamically adapt our entire website, all of our communications, and our advertisements in real time to the buyer persona and the stage of the buyer journey. So if you look at this website, it's just a WordPress site. It thinks my name is Sean, thinks I work for a marketing agency. It's injecting my logo onto this laptop, thinks I need an agency portal, injecting my logo on my domain onto this report designed for marketing agencies. And I'm in Calgary, so it shows my skyline. It says, you're not the only agency in Calgary, become Calgary's #1 agency, which is a beautiful message for me, and it would resonate It's a horrible message for software as a service companies, which is a huge vertical for us, but they won't see this. This website, exact website, will be completely different for them than it is for me. So if we're, for example, targeting software as a service companies, we'll go find, say, 1,000 SaaS vendors, upload them into our tech stack. It'll go pull their logos. And if I get anybody from one of those companies to this website, this exact website, will say how we can help their company increase subscribers, reduce churn, and grow globally, right? So, and this isn't just a party trick. The results are real. We've seen a lift of 300 to 400% in conversion rates, time on site, and page depth for the verticals we've targeted. And it makes sense because we're literally aligning the content with the visitor. So this is called inline dynamic content. So this is inline, this is inline, this is static. Everybody sees this. This is inline. We're absolute global leaders in this concept of inline dynamic content. All of the overlays as well are completely controlled. This tells me to log in because it knows I have an account. Make sense?
Yep, absolutely. And that was one of the really cool things that I noticed. One of your people called me, and I'm like, well, I'm actually on the website now, or I pulled it back up because I couldn't remember who I had spoken to previously, or I remember looking at the information, but briefly. And then whenever I pulled up the website, it pulled up my logo on there, and it spoke to me. So I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, and we're pretty brash about it, right? Because that's what we sell. The real magic is when it's not brash, right? It's seamless adaption, right? It changes as the person progresses, and that they don't actually notice it, right?
Right.
Now, once you're inside the platform, the first thing you're going to see is the most important part of the platform is our dashboard tool. And and we built this as an agency to try to get our clients to, log in, engage with the results, and see our agency's brand. So it's the only part of the platform unique to the person who logs in. This is my dashboard. Other people in the company have their dashboards. You can build them, save them, share them, assign them, and mass deploy them across an entire fleet of clients. It's a very powerful system. And to build the dashboards, we have full access to everything in Google Analytics, Google AdWords, Search Console, Facebook, connections to the social platforms, things like Service Titan. And more importantly, though, is the data our technology collects natively. So we have about, I think, 200 to 300 dashboard widgets, plus a widget factory for building your own widgets. So you can build these dashboards, save these dashboards, assign these dashboards, mass deploy the dashboards, etc. So this is my dashboard. One of the more interesting widgets for me is the map. And why? Is it demonstrates that the closer you get to an individual, the more data we have on the individual, right? Because anything a prospect does, whether they're anonymous or not, our tracking system is watching what they're doing and where they are when they're doing it. So whether they're engaging with emails, partially filling out forms, chatting, phoning, downloading assets, doing anything, the tech stack is tracking, and hence it populates all of that engagement on the map. Now, there is some utility to this, especially for local businesses, but the real utility for us as an agency is it's definitely a shiny object. Clients love to log in and creep on their prospects, just like everybody does. Now, we were doing lots of content for our clients, so a calendar is a nice communication tool, right? These are the content that's been published already. This is the progression of the content. These are the posts that haven't been published yet. All of the meetings native to the platform, some great SEO widgets. We have and really, we have the ability to slice and dice the database with things like this Kanban widget for analyzing individual contacts based on categorization. And we also have account-based Kanban, or cards, for analyzing the data. And we also have about the calls. So we do get full attribution on every touch point, including the calls. But the real magic happens when the call happens, right? So what our technology will do is record the calls, analyze the conversations, summarize the calls in these tag clouds so we can see what the calls are about without listening to recordings. It auto-categorizes the calls based on what people talked about on the phone. So we would use this data. Really, the two stats that were probably the most powerful is one is how many times the phone rang and nobody answered it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number two is, let's say they answered it and they didn't do a great job closing the business. So we would actually do quite a bit of sales coaching for our clients. So long story, but end of the day, as you can see that definitely we are tracking everything that prospects are doing. We're tracking what their engagement on the website, what they talk about on the phone, what ads they click, everything, and we're dynamically adapting our website, advertising, and communications based on this engagement. We'll also see what they do behaviorally, and we have an algorithm that will predict when the person is most likely to open emails based on their behaviors. So we will predict and automate the send times based on their engagement. Make sense?
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. It's fantastic. Creepy, but fantastic.
Yeah. Like I said, it's bordering on, no, it's creepy.
No, it's definitely creepy. There's no bordering.
Yes. And so now what I'll show you is that really I'll show you that everything I talked about, even though we're doing some fairly sophisticated things, is actually very easy to pull off with the platform, because I'm talking about some crazy things here, but end of the day is how is it actually done? So I'll walk through the tech stack from the perspective of the agency and the operating agency environment. So
okay.
we do landing pages. The landing pages are served on a subdomain of your client domain, like www2, or if they're using WordPress, we can literally serve the pages directly through our WordPress plugin or microsites or vanity URLs, this type of stuff. And the pages are built using our visual builder. So it's a drag and drop interface that in the WYSIWYG, very close representation to what you see in the builder to what is actually going to be, what is going live. Now, we've tried to make this accessible to the first-time user because, again, as an agency, it's about getting it done quickly with somebody that hasn't been trained, and being able to move on and get other work done.
Sure,
So
yeah, that's one of my concerns just by looking at this and everything that you're telling me. I'm like, oh my God, how long is this going to take me to set up? Right?
Yeah, and you'll see that that's really the time factor is actually short. Now, this is ActiveDEMAND, even though you do not see the word ActiveDEMAND anywhere. So it isn't just swapping out a logo. Our brand is gone, right? We sell this as infrastructure to agencies, and it's about the agency's brand, not our brand, right? So I showed you this picture of somebody juggling all these different tools. Right? All of those tools, as you know, all have builders, and the builders all do essentially the same thing, but they look completely different because they're built by different companies. Sure. How we're able to do so much with our platform and maintain its ease of use, we have one builder. We use it for all assets in the platform. So it's literally this interface to learn, right? So we use this builder for example, landing pages. Do you want me to show you how we do the dynamic content?
Absolutely.
Okay. So imagine our client here, Vendor Windows. Let's say they have two verticals, residential and commercial. Clearly, this is a pitch for residential. So what we're going to do is take this hero banner and we're going to create what's called a dynamic block. And this object, it's the exact same builder as the previous screen. Right? So there's no differences here. It's the same builder. We're not learning how to do anything different. It's literally the same builder, right? Now, if I build this block like I've just done, I can drag it onto any landing page that I have in my inventory. It will automatically show up as a shortcode or a Gutenberg block in WordPress with the WordPress plugin. Or it shows up as an object in Shopify or Magento, or you can embed it in any CMS as a div. right? Now, anywhere I deploy this hero banner, if I make any changes to this hero banner, it is now changed everywhere. So it's one asset that is reusable and always up to date no matter where it was used. Clearly, the pitch is still for residential. So now what we want to do is address the commercial, right? So I'm going to create an alternate version of this, which I've done already, for the commercial buyer, or the commercial context rather. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the background image, and I'm going to use a picture of an office, change the pitch here. You see, I actually have full control over the structure. So it isn't just a simple little put a name and an image. It's the structure is literally going to, I can control it for this new context. Now I have two versions of the hero banner. How do I control who sees which one? Well, we're tracking a lot with our creepy stuff, right? And if the asset that this is deployed on is being viewed as a result of searching for office windows and clicking an ad, or if they've ever talked about offices on the phone in the past, or if they ever came into the website and the entrance URL was office, we can infer that they're a commercial buyer and they'll see this one. If not, and literally what we do is we stack the different slices, and the appropriate slice renders based on the context of the visit. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
So, and it's the same builder. It's not super complex. It's literally, we did what we did on the website already. Build that hero banner here, and then click clone and change it for the next context. That's it. Same builder. Same builder for the pop-ups, tooltips, and overlays. So most overlays will give you, on exit attempt, on nth visit, on exit, all these types of things, right? Which ours does too. The real magic is in the context, right? We can hyper target the overlays based on the context of the visit. Again, same builder. We're not learning any new builder for this as well. We use the same builder for web forms, and we have a fantastic multi-page form builder that has a ton of survey elements, right? And as well, appointment scheduling, it's just a widget on a form on a page, right? Same builder for emails, same builder for reports. Long story short is it's literally one interface to learn for asset development. Make sense?
Got it. Yes, it does.
Now, when we're working in the platform, we're typically working in the context of a campaign, right? So as a marketer, we're doing our effort, our assets, our strategy, our content, and more importantly, our measurement in a campaign. So the campaign container is where we do all of this. So we have two campaign container types. One is the calendar. So a calendar campaign is for doing promotions that have dates and times on the calendar. So for example, this email is going to go at this date and time, this email is going to go at this date and time, this email is going to follow up with everybody that didn't do what we asked them to do in the previous emails. We can schedule blog posts, social posts. We can bulk import posts with spreadsheets, communicate internally with Slack, schedule our staff's time on the calendar as well. And we're the only marketing automation system on the planet that has a full content approval process baked in. And why? Well, marketing is done by people, and people often make mistakes. And we put processes in place to ensure that we produce quality results. But it's better to have the software actually enforce the process. So if this is enabled, the person who creates the content cannot publish it. They have to submit it for approval, and then the moderators, whether it's us or the client, get notified, and then they approve, reject, comment, etc. And there's a full audit log on the entire state changes of the content. So there's never a question of how did that go live? We know who approved it. Make sense?
Gotcha. Yeah, absolutely.
Email builder, again, like I said, same builder as the previous builder. It's we do not just split testing. We will do multivariate testing. We can do inline dynamic content on the emails plus vertical send, where we have different versions for each individual vertical or segment within the audience. The second campaign container type is the workflow. And this is a trigger-based campaign where the prospect does something, meets some specific criteria that starts a personal journey. So for example, somebody follows me on Twitter, do I have their email address? Great, I'll automate an email. If not, I'll automate direct Twitter messages. We do full inbound and outbound SMS and MMS automation. Now, this last campaign I'm going to show you is really to demonstrate how we reuse labor across a fleet of clients. So let's say, so for this example, anybody that buys from Vendor Windows, we want them to go tell their friends on social media about the wonderful experience they had buying from Vendor Windows, if they're happy. If they're unhappy, of course, we don't want them anywhere near social media, right? And we can detect if they buy because we have full integration with many CRMs where we actually get the opportunities and full attribution on the opportunities and full attribution on the deals. And we have integrations with things like Service Titan, where we literally can see when the service job is done, or integrations with the e-commerce platforms, right? So we detect when they buy, and then it's automatically after this campaign, we send them an email. The email says, hey, thanks for buying. Can you just give us a little bit of feedback as to the experience? Which takes them to a landing page. Very simple, happy, unhappy. Now, if they're happy, we offer them a chance to win $100 if they tell their friends, right? And the email they get echoes that same story. Now, if they're unhappy, we suppress the offer. And of course, the message they're getting now is curiously absent any mention of social media. Now, if they fill out the form, they're kicked out of the sequence. If not, we keep gently persuading, even with a text message, to fill out the form. So simple campaign, and it would provide great value for this window company. And as an agency, that same campaign would not only work for the window company, and if this is our account, these are all of our clients, that same campaign would work for the service business, law firms, all of the locations of our automotive dealerships, our e-commerce clients, et cetera. Same campaign would work for everybody. So what our platform, but it took labor to do this. There was the sequence, landing page, autoresponder. There was a bit of work there, right? Right. So what our software does to help you reuse labor is it abstracts the branding from everything in the campaign container. So with one click, I can clone this campaign across the entire inventory of clients. All of the assets will dynamically adapt to the individual client accounts. So it's literally super easy to take a recipe and reuse it across an entire fleet of clients. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Now, the two verticals we focused on, one, like I mentioned, was industrial automation, and there's a lot of trade shows, a lot of events like webinars. So we built fantastic recipes for this. We could deploy these literally in minutes. The other vertical we focused on was completely different. It was actually martial arts studios. Why? There's so many of them, right? And but it doesn't matter, like everywhere in North America, there's these martial arts studios, but it doesn't matter where they are, the marketing is the same, right? There's a coupon offer with a paid ad to get them to, attract them to engage with us. If they take the coupon, then there's a drip sequence to try to convince them to go into the dojo. If they go into the dojo, then there's a sequence to try to get them to become a member. Once they're a member, there's a tournament, an anti-bullying week, a back-to-school special, a summer camp, a birthday party. All these campaigns are the same, right? So what we did is built out the concept of an account template, where we would put all of our experience into this template. So if we brought on a new location or a new client, we would create a client account, use this template, boom, everything was done, including a full microsite, right? We could onboard a martial arts studio in 30 minutes, deliver better results than any other agency at a price point nobody could touch. And we had one person managing the entire vertical for all of North America. Make sense?
Wow. Yes.
So it's really about reuse of labor and abstracting the labor from the story. Now, last thing I'll show you is and I hinted at it, it's actually the most important brand of all, which is the agency brand, right? All client assets, external facing client assets, are using the client brand. Anything that happens internally, whether they log into a dashboard, or you send them a lead notification when somebody fills out a form, or they any engagement that happens, it's the case that, or reports. So we have a full same builder as the page builder, pop-up builder, etc. We have a full report automation system that gives you full access to all of the dashboard widgets, and you can design these automated reports, which you can send as a PDF and nobody will read them. It's better to have a simple report with one KPI that is sent and delivered first thing in the morning every day to the client, and it's the body of an email, so they'll literally read it when they're in the bathroom or whatever, right? But the important part here is the branding of everything internally is abstracted up into the master account, so it's one place to manage your brand across the entire fleet. Any questions? I went through a ton of stuff very quickly.
There is a lot to absorb. So one of the first questions would be, what resources do you have to help me along my journey? If I were to use this,
Yep.
I'm definitely interested in it. I love the dynamic content that you have, how you're able to track the journey, the automation. It's one platform, or I can't remember the exact word that you used, but
One interface. Yep.
Yeah, one interface, and so you're not learning 1,000 other things. What type of resources do you have that will help me get this up and going?
Yep.
Fairly quickly.
Great question. And first of all, I would say that agencies, when they engage with us, we recommend, I've shown you can do lots of stuff. Don't boil the ocean. That's really the message, right? Is you can get value very quickly out of the platform and provide value quickly out of the platform for your clients. So to answer the question, though, it's really our approach is very simple. Is we show for free. We take a full contact approach to helping our agencies succeed with the platform. And the platform also helps with the learning process. So internal to the platform, there is these guided tours that no matter, wherever you are on the platform, it will provide a contextual set of walkthroughs or videos or this type of stuff. In the platform as well, you have full access to our staff. We do one-on-one training sessions, as many of these as you want, no matter how far along the engagement with us you are. We have a free academy, right, for certifying yourself and your staff. You can actually see your staff's progression when you onboard a new staff member. You can actually see how far along they are in the journey of becoming certified. All of this is free. And we also, so our philosophy is show for free, do for a fee. And what I mean by that is that, if it's a case that you're up against a timeline and you need to get things done, we have staff that you can use for a fee to do active demand related asset building. So we don't do agency work like content and graphic design, but anything related to the tech stack, our staff are available to you to do the work. You are our client. Your client is never our client,